Only one station has the power to cover Oklahoma with freedom, and you're listening to it. Your 100,000-watt talker is the new Freedom 96.9 and freedom969.com, Oklahoma's talk radio. Freedom
Weather.
Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast this afternoon. Partly sunny with a strong thunderstorm nearby. Expect flooding downpours, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. High of 82. Tonight, partly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. Tomorrow, possible severe thunderstorm in the afternoon. Otherwise, breezy and humid with variable cloudiness. High of 84. Monday, chance of severe afternoon thunderstorm. Otherwise, breezy and humid with sunshine and some clouds. High of 83. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station.
Broadcasting live from the Command Center of Freedom, 96.9 in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma, saving lives, protecting property, fortifying Oklahoma, one roof at a time. I'm Rick Allen Lippert here with HAAG-certified Master Level Damage Inspector, Oklahoma Licensed Public Adjuster, Fortified Evaluator, and IBHS Fortified Roofing Contractor, Scott McCollum.
Wow, that's a mess.
It's a mouthful. Also here is HAAG-certified Roofing Inspector, Scotty McCollum.
Good morning, Rick.
Hello. Retro Radio Randy running the show today. We won't let him talk on the air, but he'll talk to you when you call 405-608-4377. We're live streaming today on the McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma YouTube channel. You can also hear us on 969.com. Yeah, they're waving to you. We'll start as usual with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. That number again to answer the trivia question or to just ask a question, 405-608-4377. Later, we'll hear Scotty's view from the rooftop, and we'll have some before, during, and after the storm tips brought to you by Roof RX, and we'll wrap up with Dad's wisdom. And you want to listen to these storm tips because it's going to be a stormy couple of days. Coming back from breaks, we'll have some verified obscure historical trivia. Now, Scott, and Scotty, as I was at the Thunder game at the Paycom Center on Tuesday night, and I looked up at the new $5 million scoreboard. And there was a message from your lawyer telling me to say that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 800000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. How did he do that?
I thought you were going to tell me that Rumble came over and tapped you on the shoulder. I thought, anyway, there we go.
Yeah,
well, no, I shouldn't be giving him ideas because he's got plenty of ways of finding me, doesn't he? So.
If Rumble were to tap me on the shoulder, I think I might have to change my shorts. Okay, so let's get into the trivia question, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, Scotty, take it away.
How many properties have been rebuilt or built or re-roofed to fortified standards?
No, is this nationwide?
Nationwide.
I suspect so. I was going to say nationwide, but
nationwide. How many have been built or fortified roofs to fortified standard?
A, 3,500, B, 5,000, C, 70,000, or D, 100,000.
That's a big range.
Yeah, big range.
How many properties have been built or re-roofed to fortified standards? 3,500, 5,000, nationwide, 3,500, 5,000, 70,000, or 100,000.
Oh.
If you think you know the answer to that, give us a call, 405-608-4377. Now, where would someone go to find that? Because that's not, this isn't Trivial Pursuit.
This is something that needs to be a guess.
I don't
the
know.
best approach
I think you can find it.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
I think you can find it.
We're not going to make it easy
for you.
If I were
test taking, I would eliminate two possibilities: right off the bat.
if you find it, then I'll give you the bonus question.
Yeah, because there is a bonus question.
There's a bonus
So
question.
if you think you know the answer, give us a call, 405-608-4377. The winner will get their choice of either 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production the remainder of this season, or a Lowe's $25 gift certificate.
There you go.
And Carpenter Square has a new play opening week this coming Friday night. Yeah, in this Friday night, called Native Gardens. It's a very smart, intelligent comedy about 2 couples, a garden and with their backyards and a fence.
Huh.
And
Interesting.
they say good fences make good neighbors until the fence becomes the problem.
Ah, interesting.
405-608-4377. How many properties have been built or re-roofed nationwide to fortified standards? 3,500, 5,000, 70,000, or 100,000?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Scott.
Word of the week. Phrase of the week.
Hail belt.
I apologize to the 2 of you watching. I had to put my sunglasses on because I didn't bring my regular glasses. So, hail belt. Hail belt is an area of the country that runs from the Texas Gulf Coast to the Canadian border, right through the middle of the country.
All the way to Canada?
Yes, sir. Where severe hail over 1.75 inches falls on a very regular basis, and where very severe hail in excess of 2 inches falls on a very regular basis. Okay? Area, if we want to talk about states, you've got Texas, you've got Arkansas and Missouri and Oklahoma and Colorado, New Mexico, Kansas, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Iowa. Okay, so if you put that all on a map, you're going to see that you go significantly.
I-35.
You go well west of Oklahoma because you have New Mexico and Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Wyoming. Did you say
and
Wyoming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go all the way from the Texas Gulf Coast to the Canadian border. And you go east as far as Missouri and up into Wisconsin and that way. So.
Do you foresee the hail belt changing at all, shifting with all these geomagnetic changes that we're seeing?
I don't know about that, Scotty. I don't know. I know that if you think logically, and we know that Tornado Alley has migrated a little further east and a little further south. If you think of that and you think where a lot of your severe hail comes in tornadic type or supercell thunderstorms that spawn tornadoes, then it would make sense that hail belt may actually get redefined over time geographically. But right now, we're essentially Texas Gulf Coast to Canada, right through what we call the heartland.
Yeah, the heartland.
And
I was thinking of the same thing.
That is it. Yep.
Well, I remember having lived in Atlanta back during the 60s, early 60s, early 70s. We never had hail. We certainly never had tornadoes.
Right.
And now it's
absolutely a southerly, easterly movement to tornadoes. Now in this hail belt, we do know, again, I said, frequently events above 1 3/4 inches. The above 2 inches, that's a 15-year mean recurrence. So they're saying that through that area, you can expect that at least every 15 years you are going to have sustained a 2-inch or greater hail event. Okay. So pretty severe, pretty significant.
What was your week like this past week?
I was reading your notes. I already knew what you were talking about, even though they were very shorthand notes.
What's that, Scotty?
Well,
about a full moon?
Full moon, yeah.
Yeah. I had
and I'm a deacon.
I had one of those weeks where I just kind of felt like, is it a full moon out there or what the heck is going on?
It wasn't even close to it.
We had we just had a really interesting week. We had a client that was upset with us because we had sold them a Class 4 impact-resistant flex technology shingle that is performing absolutely beautifully, and had sold them a certainteed 5-star Sure Start Plus warranty, enhanced warranty package, and she had, after a number of years, was sitting with her insurance agent and asking why she wasn't receiving any kind of a discount, all right, and was very upset because, again, her terms, we sold her these things and we told her she would receive a discount. Well, we don't tell people they're going to receive a discount. We tell people that you need to check with your insurance carrier or agent and determine what the level of discount that your company offers is. And she was upset with us when, in our opinion, she should have been upset either with herself or with her agent for not having done the due diligence. Perhaps she might have changed insurance companies and had a significantly better financial outcome for her. But she was mad at us because we sold. And I will say this again, I have never sold a roof in my life, and I don't believe any of my people sell roofs.
Well, if this last name is who I know it is, down in Norman,
okay,
there have been 2 hailstorms since this storm
that would have totaled any other roof other than the one that
would but that have totaled every other neighbor's roof twice now
since we put this roof on for her. Yes,
and we know that she has not needed a new roof.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. In fact, there is a house 2 houses down from her that was a different shingle that did not upgrade to Class 4 flex technology. It's a very high-performing shingle. It's a Class 3 shingle. That roof was destroyed.
Oh, my.
Her roof was not touched. Yep. But yet, 6 years later, she's mad at us because we sold her something and she hasn't gotten a discount from her insurance company.
Yeah, the other thing is, this was Dustin's customer, and Dustin was always very conscientious.
The best. Anyway, next to Scotty. But anyway, so that's one, and then we had
Make it quick. We got to go to break.
Oh golly, you don't even let me get going before you shut me down, do you?
well, we'll pick up on the other side of the break. And Trevor, I know you're holding. We'll get to you as soon as we come back from break. I want to let everybody know you're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on 96.9, Freedom 96.9. We're live streaming on our McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma YouTube channel. We'll be back in a flash.
This is Chris Guanera, CEO of Blue Falcon Aerial. We're proud to partner with McRoof.us to enhance the Roof RX program. McRoof.us already has a trusted, proven system, and we're here to add an extra layer of precision with crystal clear drone imagery using the state-of-the-art Mavic 3 series. With our background in the surveying industry and as drone instructors at Francis Tuttle, we know accuracy. Our documentation supports McRoof's certified professionals so they can make the best recommendations for your roof, saving lives and protecting property, one roof at a time. Roof RX, where technology meets technical competence.
They deal with the insurance company for you, which is so nice and helpful.
One of the most important things that I prioritize is setting the right expectation, what they can expect from their insurance carrier, what ducks need to be lined up to make sure their project reaches the outcome that they desire.
I'm on the phone most of the day, talking with insurance companies, trying to resolve a claim that has not been paid correctly. We don't give up.
They were able to come out and give a full, in-depth inspection. That process ultimately led to a doubling of the claim.
He probably got me, at least on this roof, $50,000 more by my calculation than I would have gotten with the other roofers.
It goes far beyond what a normal roofing company would do. We're going to do it right.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air. On this date in 1875, the first running of the Roses. That's right, the first Kentucky Derby ran on this date, 1875. 1884, on this date, Alaska became a U.S. territory. How about
Awesome.
that? All right.
Awesome.
All right, so
hey, let's jump over to Trevor since
yes.
we were talking. Trevor, you there?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing this
We're
morning?
doing fantastic, buddy.
Now let me just introduce Trevor
You
to the
go
folks.
right ahead.
Trevor Thompson, Territory Manager for Certainteed Roofing
Residential and
Products.
commercial.
Yeah, residential and commercial roofing. Oh, hi, Trevor. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, good to hear from you.
Hey, Trevor, we were just telling a story of one of our clients down in Norman, Oklahoma, who we put a Northgate roof on.
Right.
Back in, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago.
17
And that client has been through at least 2 major hail events in Norman, and we've inspected the roof every time there's been anything, and that shingle is oh man, it's a workhorse. It is absolutely phenomenal. And we were talking about that the value of the new technologies and kind of what we're doing with the enhancements in the systems and the fortifications and all that really drives value for the consumer. So tell us, we rave about our Northgate and our Landmark Climate Flex shingles, and we love our Landmark Class 3. That's our entry-level shingle for McRoof, of course. But talk to us a little bit about what's going on in your world, what the new products are coming, how you're supporting the fortified efforts and all those kind of stuff.
So Fortified, I know you're dead on talking about Fortified and keeping everybody educated on that. Over the years, there's been an evolution of just ongoing increasing storm damage, and the insurance companies working with the Insurance Institute of Business and Home Safety, and them doing testing with wind and rain and water and hail balls. Well, the Fortified has really centered in, for my world, in Oklahoma, and Certainteed's introducing tomorrow, actually, a decking tape, CertaSeam roof tape, as well as the Swiss Start self-adhered starter.
Okay.
Idea being from the deck up, what they're trying to do is keep the water out, keep the roof on. And I'm sure you've already talked about as far as the different applications that are a little bit of a tweak on a normal roof install.
Right.
Decking and closing up the open seams on the decking of the roof, because the amount of water that, if the roof were to ever come off, the amount of water that can flow through those cracks or those little gaps between the decking, that tape takes that out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
And then locking down the perimeter edges around the house.
Right.
So there's the market shifting, the evolution from a manufacturer standpoint. This concept of Fortified, I remember this, Scott, being introduced clear back in like 2008, I want to say.
Absolutely.
They've been working on it that long, but boy, it's sure on the forefront now.
Well, and I think that a lot of that is, there are a couple of I talk about it all the time, Trevor. There's a couple of attitudes that have to change. We have to change the attitudes among the roofing professionals, the storm restoration industry. The attitude has to become about protecting lives, saving lives, and protecting property, and not about selling a roof. It has to be about value that comes from the protection and the peace of mind that people end up with, rather than just selling a roof. And that's on our industry side of things. We've got a lot of work to do there to get a huge part of our industry to quit selling a bottom line price and commoditizing asphalt shingle roofing, because a roof is the second most important system in any structure after only the foundation. and it is the number one weather shedding system that protects your property. So, we've just got to we got to change that mindset. And then the other is that we have to get consumers, their attitudes have to change from, oh, it's only a roof, which largely comes from the roofing industry having dumbed it down, to it's only a roof, we'll give you what you've already got, and that's all we're going to do. But the consumers have bought into that. It's only a roof. There's going to be another storm, and the insurance company's going to pay for it anyway, so why should I invest in better? That's the other attitude that has to change, and that's going to come from the professional, technically competent, passionate roofing and restoration contractors who choose to sell value. And that's a lot of work to do. But that's the work that has to be done right now.
Yep. And it's a tangible culture when you find a company like that. Honestly, I had a conversation with a guy just yesterday. Gone out on his own, worked for another company. He's like, he was just so passionate about wanting to make sure that he was trained, wanting to make sure that the crews were trained, wanting to make sure that everything that was done right on the roof. And he says, and I don't have problems as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just do it right the first time. Imagine that.
Yeah.
It takes care of the homeowner. It takes care of the contractor. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I love connecting with people like that and sharing everything that you and I can share with them in the way that we can that puts somebody out there in the marketplace that's really providing that value for the consumers and offering what the shingle industry really can offer today. And, when you and I have talked about this, and you fussed at me a little bit about, the enhanced warranties and different things like that. But I know I see that differently now than I've ever seen it before, Trevor. And here's the reason why. I know that when we're installing a Certainteed Integrity roof system, and I know that when we're installing that, exactly the way that you guys have taught us to install it, and everything is enhanced and everything is protected and attached and done the right way, and we properly ventilate that roof, okay? And that's a huge, huge issue for all the industry and all consumers. But when we properly ventilate that roof, I know that these roofs that we're putting on now are going to last 25, 30, 40 years, okay? They're going to perform and stand up short of an EF2 tornado or above. They're going to stand up to what the weather is going to throw their way. And so those enhanced warranties that are going to extend coverages from you guys, from Certainteed, for 50 years, that becomes much, much more important and a real value added for the consumers. So, anyway, what you talked about your fortified products, so I should be able to get those in Oklahoma within a few weeks, or where are we at on that?
We've got them stocked at our Oxford plant out of North Carolina right now.
Okay.
And then they're zeroing in on one or two other plants initially, kind of the initial rollout.
Okay.
But the products are there. We should be getting pricing. My understanding is tomorrow.
All right.
So I'll relay that. Give you a heads up.
Great.
Hey, thank you, by the way, for sending your guys to the training we did the other day.
Man, I tell you what, I got more positive, and I was shocked when I walked in the room, Trevor, and that was standing room only. I was so happy for you and for our industry, really, to see that many people in there wanting to get up to speed on things. I got so much positive feedback, and I've had a number of phone calls. Everybody always tells me how great Trevor is, and everybody always tells me that they want to really understand what we do at McRoof and why I believe in Certainteed the way that I do, and that's what it's all about. So we appreciate you so much. The crews loved the training in the morning, and I heard from crew members how much they enjoyed and how much they learned, and that's the first time I've ever gotten that kind of response on that side of things. So I really appreciate you, Trevor.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, buddy. Have a great weekend.
That's Trevor Thompson, Certainteed's Territory Manager for residential and commercial roofing products in Oklahoma. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma will be back after the news. The number to call, 405-608-4377. Our trivia question is still out there, but we'll be back after the news.
This is the year America reclaims freedom. Hear it as it happens on Oklahoma City's only 100,000-watt talker. We're the new Freedom 96.9 and Freedom969.com. Oklahoma's talk radio. Freedom
weather. Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast this afternoon. Partly sunny with a strong thunderstorm nearby. Expect flooding downpours, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. High of 82. Tonight, partly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. Tomorrow, possible severe thunderstorm in the afternoon. Otherwise, breezy and humid with variable cloudiness. High of 84. Monday, chance of severe afternoon thunderstorm. Otherwise, breezy and humid with sunshine and some clouds. High of 83. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station.
There we go. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the second half of the program today. On this date in 1897, the first successful submarine that could run submerged for any considerable distance launched in the U.S. by its designer, John Philip Holland. 1897.
Oh, my gosh, I'd hate to be in that thing.
Boy, no kidding. And then on this date in 1900, a novel published in Chicago by L. Frank Baum, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
And you all know what happened with that novel. I will maintain that the Wizard of Oz movie is the most culturally significant movie in American history because of all of the phrases and lines.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, just you say Yellow Brick Road, ruby slippers, you know.
Hey,
anyway,
let's get the trivia question out there again. Okay, so how many properties have been built or re-roofed to fortified standard? You heard Trevor talking. You heard Trevor talking about fortified being around.
Since 08.
Yeah, he said 08. 20-ish. So it's been around for a while. So obviously things take a while to build. How many homes have been built, or how many roofs re-roofed to fortified standard? $3,500, $5,000, $70,000, or $100,000?
That was 50,000. B was 50.
Oh, okay. Well,
was it 50?
3,500, 50,000.
Actually, it's okay. 3,500, 5,000. That's the way Scotty read it the first time. We'll keep it like that. 3,500, 5,000, 70,000, or 100,000. So,
if you think you know the answer to that question, give us a call, 405-608-4377.
and then we're going to give you the bonus question, and you may get both prizes.
Ooh, boy, that'd be great. 405-608-4377. So we do need to get to Scotty's view from the rooftop, but Scott, I wanted to go back up to something that you were cut off in the very first segment. I'm a deacon. What does that mean?
It's okay. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this.
Okay.
It was just it's one of those things, folks, that we explain to you from the first time you call us how an insurance claim works. The conversation goes something like this. You are going to pay your deductible. We are going to work through the insurance claim process to get to a place where we believe that the replacement cost value is an accurate representation of your damages, storm-related damages. Storm-related damages, okay? The insurance company is going to pay that. You're going to pay your deductible. You're going to add in anything additional or deduct anything that you don't want to do. That's where we're going to end up. We explained that to you from day one. So in this particular case, we had a gentleman who's been a client for a number of years from a repair standpoint. We've been kind of Band-Aiding and nursing him along. Comes time for an insurance claim. He asked us for an estimate, and we gave him an estimate for X thousands of dollars, all right? But with giving him the estimate, again, the reiteration of here's your estimate. But quite honestly, when we get through the insurance claim process, this estimate really doesn't mean anything.
I'm the one who wrote the estimate, and my estimates say preliminary insurance estimate.
Okay. So then we get the insurance claim done, and the insurance claim is several $1,000s more than our estimate. So Kelvin goes out to sign a contract. Every expectation that's what's going to happen. Kelvin presents him his replacement cost value contract and his out-of-pocket scenario, which includes his deductible, like we talked about from the first time he ever called our office years ago. All right? He is mad and feels like that we are being underhanded or dishonest because we are not honoring our written estimate for his job, and that he wants to be able to benefit from the difference in our estimate and the insurance claim dollar amount. In other words, what he's saying is he doesn't want to pay his deductible.
Right.
So what I explained to him is that...
And he gets belligerent at Kelvin, towards Kelvin, and kicks him out of his house.
Basically kicked him out of the house.
Oh, my.
So because I hear about this, anything that involves values, upset, anything, I get involved in. So I called him very politely, want to walk through this, want to understand. We go through the whole thing, and at the end of this, I'm explaining to him that this is exactly how it is supposed to work. This is according to the law. This is according to the statutes. This is the way that it has to work. We're more than happy to do the work for the amount of money that we quoted you, but we will have nothing to do with the backside of your insurance claim in making any affirmative statements to the insurance company about what you paid, the work that you did to try to attempt to recover your depreciation. The only way that you will get the full $53,000 or whatever it is by you telling the insurance company that that's what it cost you to do that work. If I do the work for you for less than that, I'm not going to tell them I did it for you for the full boat.
Right.
Therefore, they will reduce the amount of money to what you actually paid me and deduct your deductible from that amount, which you will still owe me. I've already paid my deductible. No, sir. They deducted your deductible from the payment to you until you write me or another contractor a check. You have not paid your deductible. Well, I'm a deacon in the church and I would never take advantage or distort. I said, sir, God bless you, but you are not listening to what I'm telling you. I said, good luck to you, and thanked him for his time and said, I'm sorry that we could not earn your business. Have a good day.
My goodness.
So I'm a deacon.
That's
where that note came from.
And I could tell you a number of I'm a deacon stories over the years.
So many deacons out
so
there.
anyway, so that was kind of that other part of that full moon thing, and then we had another one, and I'll just make this really, really short. I don't trust anybody. Okay,
we heard that
our
statement.
Whole company is built on establishing a relationship and a trust with a prospect that leads us to them becoming a client.
Yep.
Scotty sends this man a contract. He's been working with him.
Who I've been working with in Tulsa for 6 months now.
Okay, don't get too specific, but anyway, a lot of water under the bridge.
There's a lot of people.
Scotty gets an email back from him about all this, that, and the other and everything. And I let it lay around for a day or so because I knew where I felt my heart was, my gut was. And I sent the man an email and I said, I am invoking my executive privilege as the owner of this company to tell you that I am not accepting this contract. I'm canceling your contract. You are not my client. I said, you have shown us from the day you called us that you were the expert of everything from building construction to building codes to roofs to insurance restoration to claims handling and now to contract construction and administrative law. There is no expectation on my part that we can deliver an experience to you that will result in a raving fan. And the only acceptable outcome for McRoof is a raving fan. I will not knowingly walk into this relationship with no expectation of arriving where I need to arrive. I will not risk the reputation of my company for this piece. And this is a large piece of business. I will not do that. Thanked him, said, I wish you luck in finding a technically competent, proficient contractor to execute the work to your standards who will maintain the integrity of the insurance process. Because he had asked us to get the insurance company to pay for some things that we had no reason. Okay. So anyway, was it a full moon this week or was this just my week for that kind of thing?
It was a full moon for you.
But you know what? Values are values and they don't change. Okay,
Standards.
they have nothing to do with dollar signs, and if they do, you're kidding yourself. You're delusional if you think those are values. If you ever consider the dollars involved with it, okay, that's just not how you make. That's not how we make decisions. So anyway,
I guess not.
Full moon.
Hey, Scotty, can you tell your view from the roof in 2 minutes or less?
I think I can.
Yeah, get after it, boy.
Oh, hang on, Scotty. What's it look like up there?
Well, yesterday it was pretty pleasant.
Pretty
It was
sunny.
A little
Pretty sunny.
It was sunny with a light breeze. About 10 a.m. when I was on this rooftop, it was in the high
2
70s.
minutes, son. You got 2 minutes.
Now you have a minute and a half.
Well, I think I'll just shut up and let you tell the story. And I met a very competent and professional insurance adjuster.
Oh,
which is
rare
these days. He greeted me professionally, exchanged pleasantries, got to work, and he was very thorough. He asked for me to guide him around and just give him a general idea on what items were damaged, which there are many, many items, many dozens of items that are damaged on this property. And he had no issue with his documentation. He asked for a couple tools to help better see the damage in some cases and better document those damages on certain surfaces, and it was a breeze. The customer was not home, but he called the customer once we were finished and let him know what we had found.
What you were in agreement to.
what we were in agreement to, which was everything.
Nice.
And then said if I could please send my Xactimate estimate from Ralph, our estimator, and my other previous documentation on all of the damage. He will use that to import into the claim file and reference for his supervisor or whoever needs to stamp their approval on this claim.
And this was an all-state adjuster.
It was a catastrophe adjuster.
This is that collaboration that we used to have on the roofs every single time.
Right.
And that was one of the few instances of that displayed this year in the field. And, man, that's a great story, Scotty.
I figure I might as well tell some nice stories
Absolutely.
about it because not all of them are.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. We'll be back after these words. We do have Chris Ganera from Blue Falcon Aerial on the line. We'll talk to you when we get back. Want to remind you that I think we're live streaming on the McRoof Fortifies YouTube.
I don't see anything up there.
Well, I don't know either.
I'm waving anyway. So.
We'll be right back. Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army Horse Cavalry and was stationed at Fort Bliss. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy flew a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy, on November 11, 1943, when his crew, along with 31 other bombers, destroyed a ball-bearing plant in occupied France. On a return trip, a mechanical failure caused the Yankee Doodle Dandy to drop out of formation, leaving it vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109s shot down the plane near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board, the others parachuted. One was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 23 years of service with many awards and commendations, including the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Heart, and multiple air medals. Homer Stacy McCollum, Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof.us is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to fortify your property, call McRoof.us at 405-877-4663. Ask for your complimentary roof inspection performed by a credentialed HAAG residential inspector. McRoof.us, saving lives and protecting property by fortifying Oklahoma, one roof at a time. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the final segment of today's live program. On this date in 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously ruled on Brown versus Topeka Board of Education and reversed the 1896 separate but equal provision of education, ending desegregation. And then on this same date in 1957, 3 years later, that desegregation was made into law. And then on this date in 1973, the U.S. Senate began its Watergate Committee hearings into the break-in of the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. All right, so Chris Ganera, Blue Falcon Aerial, you're on the air.
All right, good morning, team. I got some great news for you. The live stream is working. I've been watching it the whole time. So
oh, okay, good. Yeah, it's a blank screen for us, so we wondered.
All right, no, you are good to go, brothers.
So, Chris, what's going on with Blue Falcon Aerial? Some exciting developments, I think.
We have a lot of exciting developments. I know this last week has really been focused on the technology meets technical competency. That's really been our focus. So I'm happy you had Trevor on the line earlier because I am currently looking at mine in Beckman's, what is it? Is the Master Craftsman's Shingle Applicator.
There you go. There you go.
So really, really happy to see that. I know we've got a lot of great things working. I know Scotty and we have some great plans going as far as educating consumers in Oklahoma on various different aspects on the McBlog. We've been working with Kelvin and Johnny to try to help incorporate our drone imagery and 3D models even better into the processes for the McRoof team. I know Jesse and myself, we were on roofs with you on Wednesday, trying to really help understand this process better so we can provide more value. So that's really been our focus.
Yeah, tell us about that fortified roof. That was interesting, right? That's the first time you've seen that, right?
That was incredibly interesting, and I know it was definitely like we actually the podcast last week about it, but you told me it was going to be a lot slower and more methodical a process, and that is absolutely true. So
yeah, so this is McRoof. This is McRoof as a contractor actually building a fortified roof. This is a roof that we probably normally would have done in about 6 or 7 hours. And this roof took us 2 full days to execute. Again, this is a prescription. This is an exact and precise methodology for installing a roof. And even though our guys are versed in Certainty Integrity Roof System, the extra additional steps and all required in this and getting everything perfect to make sure that they've got that in their minds, okay? And are ready and set and can roll out and do this time after time after time after time. So it was great for my team. It was great for the Blue Falcon aerial team, and certainly great for the crews to learn all of this and get it nailed down. So, yep.
Absolutely. And the great thing is, as well, is we actually documented the roof condition in multiple stages. And so we're going to have 3D models of every stage of the process, so that homeowners can really see and understand what each part of these different things is going to be. It's a very high resolution, very clear detail of all the different things that are going to be put onto that roof and all the different additional things to really strengthen it and fortify it so it can survive here in Oklahoma. Well, it is very fascinating.
Yeah, we did this for this kind of a multifaceted. This is something we wanted to build for ourselves, for our clientele. We wanted to build it as something that we can use as a training and teaching crew, teaching tool for other roofing contractors, personnel as well, for their crews. I'm sure that Avery and the Orca bunch will want to incorporate a lot of this stuff into some of our educational offerings and things. So basically, there's a lot of good information that's going to come out where people can start to understand this, how it happens on a roof, what it really means, and the steps that are involved in it. We've broken it down, or Chris will break it down in that way, so it'll make a whole lot of sense to folks. So anyway. Chris, you were talking about these crystal clear images. We've got some weather coming to Oklahoma way here over the next few weeks, and I think that there are some opportunities for Blue Falcon Aerial to obviously play in with Roof RX and with McRoof, but there's some opportunities for other consumers and contractors and property managers in the space to understand that if you need very quick, accurate data to give you actionable plans as a result of any of these weather events that are upcoming, Blue Falcon Aerial and Roof RX are really an answer to that.
Absolutely, yeah. We have the best imagery possible, and by doing a side by side of the current standards with ours, it's crystal clear. And then the other great thing, of course, is we do have HAAG-certified inspectors who can also assist us in making sure that the data is meeting the standards required, and we can get as much information as we can without having a boots in the roof inspection, which of course is always the preferred. But this is a great way of pre-qualifying and allowing homeowners and anybody else to really understand the state of the roof without having to be there and get on the roof themselves.
Yeah, and the reality of it is, if you have a major storm event, there's not a roofing company around that can respond to that in a very timely basis. And what we envision being able to dispatch one of our network pilots to come out and gather that initial data without us having to have a solution specialist or someone out there on the roof with them. Let them gather the data, and then that filters back into the analysis and everything, where the HAAG inspectors and different people are involved in analyzing that data. A lot of roofs will be able to look at and say, hey, they don't have any damage. A lot of roofs will be able to look at and say, hey, they are absolutely destroyed. And a lot of roofs will be able to look at and say, they need these specific repairs and this needs to be done. And people now have an action plan to move forward. Roofing contractors can decide the roofs that someone actually needs to go and get on. And people can make decisions from a consumer standpoint if, in fact, they should be filing a claim or getting in line with their insurance company. So,
hey, Chris, we got to move on. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining
Chris,
us.
thanks for calling, man. I appreciate you.
Enjoy your weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, so you guys talked about storm season coming. Well, it's here.
Yep.
Ooh, we're going to hear that sound here over the next few days.
Yep.
Before the storm.
Well, you know, before the storm, it's a little late for that. So if you had
during the storm,
if you had a lot of things going on with water or leaks or things like that, and you haven't done anything about it, there's really not anything you can do right now. What you need to do is, number one, just prepare and stay safe during the storms. When the storms are over and it's safe for you to do it, if we get storms in the night, late afternoon or nighttime, the next morning, get out and do a lap around your property. Maybe take your camera, your phone with you and take some pictures. If you see some things that are obviously amiss, you see missing shingles, you see missing ridge, you see chimney caps that look like maybe the chimney cap's blown off or a turbine head has blown off or any of those kinds of things. Take pictures, look around. If there's organic material, if you've got tree limbs, anything like that, document it. And then when you make a phone call to somebody who can get up there and clean all the debris and evaluate for you what needs to be done, you can send those pictures to Carly, for instance, and we already have a heads up and have a leg up on what might need to be done and can start to move in the direction of that. If after the storms you have what you believe is damage, but you don't know how significant it is, do not file an insurance claim. Either let us dispatch a drone to get the digital images to be able to analyze for that for you, or let us get somebody boots on the roof to determine what your situation is, review your insurance contract so we know what your deductible and other exclusions and limitations in your contract are, because I don't want anyone filing an insurance claim who doesn't clearly understand what their potential out-of-pocket will look like by filing that insurance claim. All right? Do not file an insurance claim unless your roof is absolutely blitzed. You can see holes in it, half the roof's missing, something like that. And even then, you need to get us out right away to analyze your insurance situation. Okay?
Benny, we're going to get to you in just a moment, but I got to say that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. Benny, you have 1 minute.
Okay, I'll make a pure guess at this trivia question.
Let's hear it.
5,000.
Oh, sorry, Benny.
No, Benny, your batting average just went down.
Well,
he was starting from a high place to begin with.
I have no resources to find that stuff out that other people do.
I understand.
All right, so Scott, tell Benny how many properties have been built or re-roofed to fortified standards.
They just ticked over 70,000. Okay?
That was going to be my other guess, but I thought,
just ticked over.
I should have followed my instinct.
Yeah, there you go.
When in doubt, see your way out.
Go with your gut. So just ticked over 70,000. Those 70,000 are in 31 states.
Wow.
Where, if you look at a map, where is the hole? Rick, what are we talking about?
I'm going to say Gulf Coast and Eastern Seaboard.
No, the hole.
Oh, the hole.
Where if you look at their map of their
hurricane zone,
where is the hole? The hole is the heartland.
Oh.
There are almost no fortified roofs in the heartland.
Oh, my goodness.
All right,
we're changing
going to fix that. We're going to fix that.
Dad's wisdom.
Yeah, Dad's wisdom. Thank you.
Real quick.
Yeah.
They can do business with you guys integrity. They can't do business with anybody.
All right,
All right,
you, man.
thank you,
All right.
Benny.
So this is for my guy who doesn't trust anybody. You need to go through life looking for the best in people. Life's just too hard to do it any other way.
But he doesn't trust anybody. This has been McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. Thank you, Scott McCollum, Scotty McCollum, Retro Radio Randy. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We will be back next week.
Hey, eyes to the sky. Everybody stay safe.
Enjoy your weekend.
KQOP Enid, Oklahoma City. Make the right choice and keep tuned to the new